So in a recent video, I talked to you guys about how I was decorating my brackish tanks for my African mudskippers and my puffer, and my Indian mudskippers and the bumblebee gobies. So at the time, I kind of shared with you kind of a little hack that I had as far as making some plants that can live in the brackish system, because those plants are currently being grown or living outside of the water. They're just getting moisture from the enclosure because it's humid in there. So I kind of shared with you guys what I'm doing there. What I will tell you is that it's going very well. The plants are excellent. They haven't had any issues. In fact, just from some little observations, they actually look like they're doing better outside of the water rather than in the water. So I added more moss, so that's going well. What I did share with you in that video is that I was going to be looking at some other options, specifically for the African mudskipper tank, and trying to find some plants that will do well in the water that are not real. So recently a company named Elite Cichlids reached out to me and shared with me that they're working on some different types of synthetic plants, some plastic plants, silk type plants, etc. And kind of talked to me about their history, what they're doing, and why they created plants the way they are. They asked me if I would be interested in testing any of these plants. I said absolutely. I will give some honest feedback and share it with viewers as far as how I felt their plants would do for myself and for others. And so they kindly sent out a few plants for me. They sent out actually a box with a bunch of plants, and I've been trying them in different tanks and different applications. Now I do like having real plants. I think that they add a real value to an aquarium. They obviously help with keeping the waters clean with the nitrogen process and removing you know, the waste from nitrates, etc. And also they do kind of create a very nice aesthetic value and really do enhance the look of the aquarium. However, in some tanks you just can't really have real plants, whether it's because you have some super aggressive cichlids that are just going to tear everything up or eat the plants, or you might have a situation like I have where you have brackish water and there's not a lot of plants that do well in brackish water. Now I know that in my last video a lot of you did mention several options that I could try as far as you know, planting different plants in the brackish water, or a little bit maybe like immersed. So I will play around with that and see how it goes. But I did try some plastic plants and they look fabulous. So as you can see in the African tank, I added a few plants. I added some of the Amazon swords. So those are the kind of the plants that look like an Amazon sword. I got the smaller one just so that I could plant them above ground and underwater if I wanted to. I know it sounds funny when I say planted, but you know, put them in the tank either above the water surface or below. So I have a couple of those in here as well. There is another plant, I don't recall the name exactly at this time, so when I go back and look at their website, I will put the description of that plant down here in the text somewhere so that you can see what that plant is. But anyway, so that looks really good in the mudskipper tank. With having the Amazon swords in there, it does add a lot of greenery, and then also having that plant there on the island. What I found is when I put the plants on that island, the fish were hanging out on the island a whole lot more. The mudskippers would go on the island a whole lot more. So I don't know if it's just a coincidence, or maybe, you know, me having the plant on the island kind of makes it feel safer for them. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I think that it looks great. I love the aesthetic value of these plants, and I think that they definitely do have a benefit in this brackish system. And I also think that, you know, for some other tanks like cichlid tanks, etc., they would do very well. Now over here in the Indian mudskipper tank, I am trying some live plants. So like I said, they are doing okay. So we're going to keep an eye on that and just see how those go. And again, I'm experimenting with some different mosses, etc. So for now, I'm very happy with how that's going. But I did put one of those plastic plants in this tank as well, because it is in the water. It's kind of an area where the bumblebee gobies can kind of hide out and play around in there. So anyway, I do think that it looks good in this tank as well. I did try a couple of the different plants in here for a time, and then decided just to take those out and put just the one in the water and have the live plants in there. In addition, I have some plants down below in a couple of the tanks that are just kind of bare bottom tanks right now. So I've got some other plants in that area, and then I've got this plant over here in this cichlid tank. It's kind of a nice tall, maybe 20-inch tall plant or something like that. So anyway, overall I am very happy with the plants. What I will share with you is that they seem to be very well constructed. They come with like a nice slate base, so very easy to, you know, put down in the tank. and keep that weight down so the plant's going to stay put. Sometimes you get a plastic plant and it has like that plastic base, and even if you bury it in the substrate, it just doesn't work. Well, these have like a nice, big, solid stone base, so it's not going anywhere. The only downside I would say is if you do have a bare bottom tank or a tile bottom tank, that there is a little bit of a bump at the bottom of the base where they've adhered the plant to the base. And if you are going to put it in a bare bottom tank, it may not sit perfectly flush, but if you have any kind of substrate or anything like that, it will be just fine. I do want to share with you guys that Elite Cichlids is going to give you guys a discount if you use the code Tazawa, T-A-Z-A-W-A, Tazawa, name of the channel, my last name. So they are going to give you a 10% discount should you decide to go to their site and order some plants for yourself. I do want to add that I am not getting anything from them other than the plants they sent me. They're not paying me for this, and I'm not getting any money if you guys go to their site and use the code. That code is purely for you guys to save money if you want to do some shopping with them. If you use plastic plants, I would love to know why you use plastic plants and what kind of plants you use. If this is something that you would be interested in trying out, definitely go check out Elite Cichlids. I will put a link of their website down below in the description, as well as the code for you to get 10% off. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up. We'll catch you on the next one.